This is Board Games Insider. More Bonacore, less Vassal. The way it should be.
This is Board Games Insider, where publishers Ignacy Cevicek, president of Portal Games, and Stephen Bonacore, president of Stronghold Games, discuss the hobby board game industry from the inside, providing you with news, advice, and a look behind the curtain into both of their companies. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Ignacy and Stephen.
Hello, Ignacy Cevicek, Portal Games.
And this is Stephen Bonacore of Stronghold Games and Indie Game Studios. This is episode 118. We're a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, recording this on September 18th, 2019. And Stephen Bonacore is in an undisclosed location, possibly on vacation someplace. How about that, Ignacy?
I have to say that I have a little secret to share with our fans. I was on vacation as well.
I know you were.
Yes, I always mocking you that you're on vacation this time. Last week I was also on vacation. So yes, we are both lazy and vacationing all the time, basically.
And I couldn't find you last week, right? I was trying to find you to do a recording, and you were not around. Where were you?
Yes, I used Google Maps to see my travel plan, and apparently I did something wrong. So I thought I would be very quick in the hotel. Apparently, Netherlands is not that close to Poland as I thought. So many hours later, I was still driving my car. And yes, I was for 1 week in Netherlands because there is a volleyball European Championship, and I'm a huge volleyball fan. Poland is, of course, participating because Poland is a world champion. So I was there supporting our team, seeing them crushing everybody on the pitch. I saw 3 matches, and yesterday in the night I came back to Poland. So here we are recording again.
That's great. So I was at the Dice Tower retreat, as I mentioned to you, recently last week, and I found out from somebody who knows you, who speaks Polish, that Cevicek means little booty.
Yep.
not booty as in the English slang for butt, but a little shoe, right? That's what Cevicek means?
Yes, this is from the old times. This is like old type of the shoe. My name in Polish, because for you guys it's like just a strange noise.
Yes.
But here in Poland, it's very funny name. Like when I introduce myself, sometimes somebody asks me, is it a real name? Like, is it really your name? I said, yes, Cevicek is the name. So I have fun with my name in Poland and abroad. Like,
oh, that's great.
Yep.
You have fun all the time with Cevicek. So why don't we get to the episode and tell us what's happening at Portal Games? You got a lot of stuff happened this time of year.
Yeah, so I took 1 week vacation. I came back to office today, and the first thing I heard is that we had situation, because there's always some situation, and our container with our releases, our Essen releases, the container that has this product, so it is also released in America, got stuck in Germany, in port, and this is totally Greg's fault. I mention Greg all the time in the podcast, because let's face it, he tried to be smart, and because he knows it is so important to have the product before Q4, because it's the huge sales, so he decided to hack the system, and instead, as always, ship the product from the port in Poland. He said he will put this product on the truck, drive to Germany, and ship it from German port. Of course, it didn't work. So our product is now in Germany, in the port. Apparently, it is going to be on the boat in 2 weeks. So we have a 2 weeks delay. I'm not happy. Luke is crying whole day today. So yes, this time I don't know my street dates, and it is not my fault. This is Greg's fault.
Greg's fault. We blame Greg.
Yes, when this stupid container finally is on the boat, we will be able to give details. But of course, I'm making it a little bit funny. But of course, on a serious note, it is not funny.
Yeah.
The most crucial part of the year. And on one hand, here in Europe, we'll release it during the Essen. It will be hype. It will be the all marketing buzz about the product. While the North America part will have to wait because of this delay. So not good news, but well, at some point it will ship. We will update you as soon as we have any details. On the Essen front, we still have our pre-orders open, and we have our pre-orders open both on our website. You can go to Portal Games website and pre-order games and get some free promos and additional content for our games, as always for Essen. But we also run pre-orders for the first time in Essen on BoardGameGeek website. I think it is worth mentioning that the BoardGameGeek was working on this for a couple of years, actually. Like, it was not public knowledge, but we publishers knew that they are working on such a system, and finally it is working. It was working for the first time at Gen Con, and now they are doing it for the first time for Essen, so publishers can put their games in the system, and the geeks who just browse the Essen Geek list can click and pre-order the game, and of course pre-orders go to the publisher. So it is first time we are using this system, so we strongly encourage you to either check the BGG system or check our system, but basically pre-order the games, because as I always say, secure your copy before you start whining, because every single year we have these whining customers Sunday or Saturday afternoon, where's my game? I know it is sold out, like you were able to pre-order, so please be smart. And two dates, I don't have my street dates, but I have two dates that I have here in the show notes. First of all, Stronghold Undead Kickstarter starts 14th of November. As yes, Steven said, he believes in this Kickstarter. It will be stronger than Pret-a-Porter. Fingers crossed.
That's what I said.
That will be awesome. Today in the office we played another version of the game with another board and new tokens, because the Kickstarter we start in November. But of course, to start Kickstarter first you have to have the prototype, right? So we are working on this right now. And the next Monday, very very close. It is September 23rd, the first day of the autumn. We will have a new case for Detective. It will be for free. You can go to Portal Games website, go to this special landing page. There is a rulebook you can download. There is a watch it played video how to play this case. There is all the tokens that you need, and the most important, there is a PDF file with all the cards. New case for Detective for free, so you can learn how to play the game, even if you don't have a base game. So it is for us a big deal. Like we were preparing this for a couple of weeks now. And finally, we are celebrating the 1 year anniversary of releasing the Detective with this free case. So this was happening. A lot was happening because this is the Q4 is coming. New games, new releases, Essen, busy time, and we are on vacation.
And we taking vacations. We got to take vacation sometime. So over at Stronghold Games, we'll mention the Kickstarters. I've been seeing all of the production pieces that are coming out for Terraform Mars Turmoil and Agizia and Aftershock and Democker, and everything is looking really good. We might have small delays on delivery, but everything is going to be in the warehouses before the end of the year. So we're still predicting minor, like November, to be fulfilling all of these Kickstarters. So watch out for that. Pre-orders was, first of all, available now just at the beginning of this month. Diamonds 2nd edition and Amul, our card drafting game. All of those are in stores now. And then our pre-orders continuing for Encore, which is Nakmal, the German name for that. That will be releasing on October 2nd, but you can still pre-order that on the website. And that is the 6th game in the Roll and Write series. I'll also mention that Ganz schon clever, or That's Pretty Clever, as we call it, is back in stock after being out of stock for several months. But sadly, Twice as Clever is now out of stock. So it's hard to keep these things in stock because they've been selling so well. But we're going to rectify that all by the end of the year. So all 6 of those games will be available soon in distribution. So check them out. And, the whole Roll and Write thing is going so well. By the way, I got a chance to play Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. I don't know if I told you that, and I loved it.
Thank you very much. I took for my vacation one of your games, No Siesta, and I opened the box. I look at the rule book and I said, "Well, I'm on vacation," and I packed it back. So I'm lazy. I'm sorry. So report from playing No Siesta soon, but I had it with me in Netherlands. But then I said, "Okay, Mary, I don't want to read the rulebook now," and I left it back. So my report from No Siesta very, very soon.
Very, very soon. One of our early Roll and Writes, in fact, our first one a few years ago.
And I heard so good opinions about the game, so I bought it. It has only good reviews. I was just not in the mood for a reading rulebook.
Yeah, it's not even that long a rule book. But anyway, continuing on, our October releases are all on pre-order. So you can pre-order Coffee Roaster, the solo game, Fire, and Fast Sloths from Freedom and Freeze. All of those games on pre-order, as well as Fast Sloths expansion, which we're not even going to release until late in the first quarter of next year. But we'll be printing them all together, and then we're going to have those at Essen. So you can get all those things right now pre-ordering on the Stronghold Games website. Hopefully you'll check that out. And that's it. That's what's going on here. So conventions, Ignacy, we are deeply, of course, in the Essen preparation. I hope yours is going well, right?
I hope. I try to not be involved too much. I'm dodging all the bullets. But Greg is doing some meetings. Of course, we will have a product. So yeah, it looks like Essen for us will be a good show, but we will see in a couple of weeks.
Very good. About time that we need to go to the event deck.
Event deck.
The event deck. Here's the latest news from the board game industry.
All right, so we have some interesting things going on here. Wil Wheaton and Geek and Sundry, they went to court. What'd they go to court about?
This is so much America. Like I know America only from the TV shows, and there's always some court story. Like this is a classic America. Tell us.
So yeah, it had to do with payment that he was supposed to get on a revenue sharing thing for Titan's Grave, the Ashes of Valanka, and I don't even know what that is. But let me do a little bit about what's going on here. Wheaton and his loan-out company, Media Dynamics, on Monday sued Legendary Geek and Sundry for breach of contract. The actor claims Legendary in 2015 hired him to create, write, executive produce, and host a web series called Titan's Grave, The Ashes of Valkana, and he'd be paid $50,000 and 50% of the net profit from the series. Sounds pretty good. They can hire me for less if they want. Legendary had the exclusive rights to distribute and promote the web show, but it was supposed to consult meaningfully with Wheaton before doing so, according to the complaint. The actor says Legendary defied that proposition and negotiated a license agreement with Sinclair Broadcasting, Hulu, and Pluto TV without informing him. Wheaton expects Legendary has collected significant fees in connection with those deals, and therefore he's due his share, but says the company won't let him audit the books. Wheaton is seeking at least $100,000 in damages and is asking the court to order a full accounting to be conducted. Have you heard anything else about this since we put this in the notes?
Of course, no. I'm familiar with the Geek and Sundry. Of course, I'm familiar with the Wil Wheaton, but I don't know this web series. And the one thing that shocks me here, because of course, in business there are different situations. Apparently, somebody at the Legendary didn't consult meaningfully, as the statement says. But what's shocking for me, on a serious note, is that they refused to audit the books. This is shocking. Like you have a contract. Like we as a publishers, we sign a contract with the designers, for example.
Sure.
I don't know how your contract says, but my contract says that designer at any point of the year can ask me that he wants to see the invoices, how the game sells. Like this is obvious. And if Legendary was refusing to audit the books, this is I never heard about something like that.
No, it is very strange. And Legendary is it's got to be $1 billion company. It's tremendous, media company. They make movies, and it's just tremendous. And the fact that they alleged, right? I mean, maybe they were just still talking about it, and then Wheaton's people went to court instead of just talking more. Who knows? We don't know, but we'll see how this plays out. An interesting development in the geek world. The next one is very interesting, I thought, and this is Cory Kanishka leaves Fantasy Flight, but to launch a new studio with Asmodee USA. So it's Cory Kanishka, by the way, famous designer, been with Fantasy Flight for many, many, many years. Forever, his entire career.
Forever.
He was basically in charge of the whole design group there, I think, in some ways. And he's now leaving and starting his own company, but within the Asmodee group. So let me read a little bit here. Asmodee USA are launching a new game studio spearheaded by renowned game designer Cory Kanishka. Unexpected Games is what it's called. Will focus on innovative design and idea incubation. Kanishka will leave his role as Vice President of Research and Design of Fantasy Flight Games and has been a company to found the new studio. Quote, our goal is to create games that are novel, fun, and accessible, Kanishka said. We hope to surprise people and create experiences that have never been done before. So Kanishka joined Fantasy Flight in 2005. That's before there was a Stronghold Games. That's basically forever in this industry.
That's forever.
Yeah. And is best known for his work on Battlestar Galactica board game, Star Wars Rebellion, and Mansions of Madness. So some of the biggest games ever in the industry he's done. And great, really nice, unassuming guy, too. I've met him a couple of times. Really enjoyed my interactions with him. So I bet this was, and this is just my, take my, yes, I bet this was a way for Asmodee to create this new studio where he could focus on doing some new and innovative things versus doing more of the, I don't know, let's call it the core stuff that Fantasy Flight has been doing for a long time. So if you think about it, right? So Battlestar Galactica and Star Wars stuff and Mansions of Madness, that's sort of their like bread and butter, but they're taking Cory's brain power and focusing him on a different portion to grow a different part of the business. That's what it sounds like to me. What do you think?
Yes. On a less serious note, but I have to say that on a less serious note, it's another episode of Asmodee ripping my taglines because last time we talked about their tagline, great games, great stories. This is my board games that tell stories, basically. And now they are founding Unexpected Games Studio, while my hashtags for last 5 years was expect unexpected about Portal games. So they're really following me on Twitter. I'm very happy. I appreciate that. And on a serious note, I have a huge hopes for this new studio. I want to remind everybody that Cory was a designer for Discover, the unique board game. It got very mixed reviews, but it was a very ambitious project to create a board game about castaways with the different components, different pieces, and something like Keyforge, but the board game. I know Cory personally. Star Wars Rebellion is one of the best to play games out there, like literally one of the best games ever. So I read this press release similarly to you. Like FFG has these big bestsellers, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Call of Cthulhu, and they will publish more Arkham Horror and more Star Wars, etc., etc. And then Cory, I imagine, say, I'd like to do something different, maybe not connected to IPs, but with the new rules, new revolutionary mechanism, new approach, and they say, okay, Cory, do it. Do some ambitious projects. So I'm looking forward, and maybe I will be disappointed, maybe not, we will see. But from me, besides the ripping name from me, I love it.
Besides ripping off the names. So this is an interesting one, and I'm not going to read too much. It was a very long opinion piece that was put out. It's about BoardGameGeek, which recently did an entire rebranding. They did this. They announced it at Gen Con. They were all wearing their new jerseys with the new logo, and they redid their front page, which was long in coming.
Reddit is far too much. Like they just a small Reddit, like small tiny Reddit.
You want me to read some of it?
No. I'm saying the front page looks almost the same. Like Reddit is too much.
So in general, there was it wasn't about that the change in the front page that was an issue per se, but the issue here was that people did not like the new logo, and they were going crazy about this, and it looked either ugly or what they were trying to do was not a good idea. Now, in general terms, what they were trying to do was to change that logo such that it had a more diverse feel to it. And again, we've talked about this many, many times. We want more diversity, we want more inclusivity, we need more people, more gamers coming to the industry from all walks of life. And that's a great idea. So BoardGameGeek basically got rid of, what did they call him, Ernie? I think that was his name, or maybe I got it wrong and I apologize out there. The name of the character that was their guy on Facebook. They wanted to be less, white male and just more general logo. So they took basically his silhouette and they made that the logo, and they changed the colors to purple and orange. Very contrasty kind of colors. I mean, I'm not going to be the guy who says I dislike a given graphic design. I'm not a graphic designer. I thought that their logo is a little bit bland, but I think it's a great idea to make a nice change, make a statement, boom, and now we move on. But of course, gamers love to have their opinions heard, and there was so much negativity about it. But just as much good stuff, but a lot of people were complaining. Kudos to Board Game Geek to continuing to advance our hobby, which needs to continue to advance to bring more and more people into gaming.
Yeah, of course, after a couple of weeks, we all got used to the new logo. And yes, and from my perspective, because of course I work in marketing, the new logo is so much easier to use on the t-shirts, on the pins, on like this is so much better to merchandise the Board Game Geek and to promote the site. From my personal experience, in 2014, after release of Imperial Settlers, Portal Games changed the logo. Like the logo that we now have is different from the past. And I was in the place where Board Game Geek is right now. Like everybody was complaining, everybody was telling me that the company will die because the new logo is stupid, and they will never buy my game because the new logo sucks. So like I was there. 2 months later, nobody remembered the old logo. Like this is how we operate. Like so,
we did the same thing. Just about the same time you changed your logo, Stronghold Games changed our logo, and there were a few people complain, but most people said it was really great and clean, and that was wonderful. And this is a graphic design thing. When you change it to these cleaner kind of logos, you implied that a moment ago, you can use them so much easier on everything, on boxes, on T-shirts, on everything. You do it as a vector image, and then you can blow up your logo to anything, any size. Literally, you can blow it up to 100 foot, and it would look as clean as it does in a 5x5, a 2x2 image on your chest on your shirt. So getting these cleaner images. If you take a look at other the big companies, they're very clean, those images, and that's what you want. How you want to represent your company. It ended up going great, and the logo is now accepted and even more recognized than the original one. So good stuff all around.
Absolutely.
So an interesting thing about, we've been talking about tariffs and this and that and all those things. Manufacturers not seeing drastic changes in the supply chain due to all of the things that are going on. So a little bit of information. With 10% tariffs set to go into effect in September, board game manufacturers say the U.S.-China trade war isn't causing dramatic shift in supply chain. Now, these tariffs actually didn't go into effect because we got this from a month ago. So I don't think we had these particular tariffs hit yet. There's going to be more at the end of the year if things continue with the U.S.-China trade war. And while some American publishers might have taken a wait-and-see attitude over the coming months, manufacturers continue to produce a record number of games. There's some quotes from some Chinese manufacturers, from Longpack, for instance. One of them is, board games are complicated. They involve a lot of different materials, paper, plastic. So the supply chain and its tariffs don't necessarily have an immediate impact. Right now, we here at Stronghold Games and Indie Game Studios are not changing anything. We're certainly hoping that we don't see the tariffs go into effect at the end of the year. We had talked about this already, that if it does, there's probably going to be a price increase across the board, sort of a tariff surcharge, and nobody certainly wants to see that. We're hoping that these things go away instead of getting worse.
Yes, if I can give from my perspective, because after there was this another news that there will be these tariffs starting from the beginning of the next year. Once again, we did contact our manufacturers here in Poland, because we work with a couple of manufacturers in Poland, to double check if our schedule prints are okay, or maybe there is some new demand for their work from American publishers. But at this point, it is exactly as this article says. Like, there is no rush of publishers from America trying to produce games in Europe because of these tariffs for China. Like, there is no movement yet.
Right.
We will see if you or other publishers in America will change the decision over the next year, if these tariffs will be in works. But at this point, our manufacturers here in Poland said that there was no additional, big demand from new publishers looking for the manufacturers. So everybody is now calm.
One last story, or it's a combination story. It's about Hasbro. Of course, we do have to mention Hasbro. They are so big in toys and games, not part of hobby stuff, but it's very important stuff going on. So Hasbro expands the U.S. recycling program that's been going on for a while to both France, Germany, and Brazil, to all three countries. Hasbro is expanding its recycling program to include those countries. Consumers can send the company's toys and games to TerraCycle, a product recycling company, who will turn them into materials that can be used in construction. The company launched the Hasbro Toy Recycling Program in the U.S. in 2018. The program allows consumers to box up and send their games to TerraCycle for free. Now French residents can get more information about how to do that, and the Germans. So this is really cool. I mean, they're obviously we produce, as an industry, we do use a lot of plastics. Hasbro, especially with all their toys, so they have a free mechanism to get those toys, once they're not going to be used anymore, out of the landfills and sent to a company who will then turn it into recycled material to be used again. Very cool, I think. Of course, a multi-billion-dollar company can do this, whereas we can't. But it's a nice thing to see that companies in this industry are acting responsibly.
I'm making so many jokes about Hasbro and Monopoly over the past few years. This time, absolutely kudos. I'm really impressed. I'm super serious. I'm impressed. We see all the problems with our planet and all the global warming and all these really serious situations happening all around the globe. And seeing Hasbro, I still don't like Monopoly, but here absolutely kudos that they are acting, they are trying to do something smart. And the other news, that they are going to reduce the plastic from the packaging. Also, absolutely, I appreciate the effort.
Right.
Yep.
That's the second part of the story that came out right after that they're going to be removing plastics from the packaging materials. It's very interesting, right? Hasbro said that it will phase out plastics from product packaging starting next year, and this includes poly bags, elastic bands, shrink wrap, window sheets, and blister packs. It hopes to eliminate all new product plastics by the end of 2022. Fantastic, right? I mean, one little thing at a time can help us all. So we think that this is all a great idea.
And we had in the history of this podcast our listeners asking us if we think about doing more, environment-friendly products, and we were saying that we don't have actually tools to do that. Here, Hasbro is showing that yes, there is a chance to do something better for the whole planet. And once again, from my perspective, absolutely kudos. I appreciate, and yes, I'm thinking if we even in a super small scale can do something to even help, because I was inspired. I really appreciate that. Once again, Monopoly sucks. I said openly, but I appreciate the company's effort to help the planet.
At Dice Tower Retreat, they have the game library there.
Okay.
And one of the games, I have to say this, one of the games on the shelf is Monopoly.
Seriously?
He puts a separate shelf, and the thing is just by itself. It says Monopoly. You could take out Monopoly. When you take it out and you open the box, inside it says, "Go pick a better game." So Tom Vassell having a little funny joke there, but it's really cute that he does that. So
I appreciate it.
You're allowed to play it if you want, but maybe you should pick a better game.
That's awesome.
All right, let's go on to strategy and tactics.
Strategy and tactics. Some advice for you from Board Games Insider.
Our buddy Gil Hova, who used to edit our podcast, and he's a publisher. He is the owner and publisher for Formal Ferret Games. He's asking, you guys talk a lot about indie publishers. How would you define an indie publisher? Can a publisher still be indie if they're working at a scale large enough to crack the ICV2 top 10? Is indie selling games? Is indie mean you're selling games out of your trunk, or is it more that you're not part of Asmodee? Does indie imply some sort of counterculture or rebelliousness? And if so, how does this affect the company's scale and business model? Well, I will take this one because, hey, it's part of our name, right? Indie, first of all, Indie Boards and Cards, right? Travis's company. And then we merged with Stronghold Games and we created Indie Game Studios. I mean, guys, I don't think you need to have a true definition. The point is, it's a small number of people who are making a company work. On our scale, we have approximately 12 or so people in the company. Portal Games with about 20 or so, right? You have in your company, Ignacy. We are certainly should be thought of as indie, very independent. We're maybe in the millions, the small millions in sales, but not billions of dollars, which is a whole nother scale, like Asmodee. Even CMON, which is publicly traded, is kind of pretty small company too. We've talked about how big they are, that they're on a public stock exchange, but they're still a pretty small company in comparison to the big boys in the industry. So, Ignacy, we're still indie, right?
I think about me as an indie publisher, and I look at these a little bit different than you. You always look from this perspective of the big businesses and with your experience, of course, from your previous work. For me, indie is that I create my own, I would say, fate, and I just make my own decision. There is no, like board of meetings deciding what I do. Like I design the games I love. I publish games I love. I don't have anybody who tells me what to do, and I feel as I'm independent publisher, and I do what I love, what I like, and I try to do the best for the company. But I find myself like being in a happy place that I'm independent company. I can do whatever I want. Yes, of course we can also look from the different perspective. If somebody is on a Kickstarter, he published the one game. If he's an indie, or because he just has a one product, he's a very small person, small company. So there may be different definitions. But how I feel I'm independent. Like I can do whatever I want. If I love the game, I will publish it no matter what. And actually, next year we will announce a game that no publisher that has any way of thinking about the business would do. But I love this game, and I'm going to publish it. So we'll announce it probably at PortalCon. And I'm not looking for the huge income from this game. I don't looking for the huge success, but I'm doing it because I love the game. I love the prototype, and I'm just loving my job. So I feel Portal Games is an indie company.
I agree with that, and I like the way you said that. If you can make the decision to simply do it, that's very indie to me. A company like CMON with that public trade, they got a board of directors, so they've got to present things to boards. So okay, I think that's pretty good. If like a person can make the decision to do something or not, that's pretty darn indie.
Yep.
Nicholas Angiers, who's Revolution Chinese on BoardGameGeek, says, could you please explain a little bit about how the rights for a certain game in different languages work? And why do many publishers not go for distribution in mainland China? It seems like a major gap in the global market. Nicholas, there's basically a core market to board games, and then there are much smaller markets after that. So publishing everything in every language is simply impossible. You're going to need a partner who wants to step up, right? And to be that person to do the game in another language. And then, of course, you have to negotiate contracts, and you got to make sure that the games are printed in the right quantities. It's simply not an easy thing to put a game out. Even a company like Hasbro is not going to put out a game in every language across the world, though I'm sure that their reach in China is very strong.
Yes, as far as I know, the market in China is growing. So sure. If Nicolas says that it seems like a major gap in the global market, like at this point, as far as I know, as far as I talk with the publishers from China, because we are in discussion with a couple of them, this market is still very young, in a very early stage, and we all hope it will grow. We all hope for a growth of this market, but at this point it is not a major gap. Like the print runs for Chinese market are not that big at this point.
Two-part thing here from Vincenzo, I believe, and the first part is going to be easy. Vincenzo Alvarello, who's Zacco Soldier on BGG. I'm going to be on his podcast soon, actually. He reached out to me. I know him from New Jersey. He lives now in Michigan, I think, or Minnesota. That's it. Because I love Dune, I was excited to read the license got picked up, but I can't see any indication that they have the rights to the Avalon Hill game. That Dune game has come out already under Gale Force 9. And I got to get myself a copy because that was a great game back then. But he also says, you may have answered this before, but have you ever passed on picking up a game for your company, but suggested they go to another company? For example, I like this game, but I don't think it fits Stronghold. You should talk to XYZ. Yes, the answer is absolutely. I do this. We do this for people quite often. When there seems to be something that's really cool. Normally, this would be a game that we've played, not like you just looked at a sell sheet, like just a random submission, but it's a game that we went through like the second step and we went and we got it and we played it and I was like, I don't think this is going to work for us. But maybe, designer, you want to go and speak to a different company and we'll suggest who would be a better fit for them. Like a war game, for instance, that came through us, or a game that is war-ish might not be necessarily a good game for us, but I have suggested people go to either like Academy Games or GMT, of course, being the biggest war game company out there. So, Ignacy, have you found yourself doing the same thing?
Yeah, this is the same. This is the same case. We mentioned it before. Even a couple of weeks ago, we decided that we will not do one of the prototypes that we received, but we really like this prototype, and I think it deserves to be published. So it is not even telling this designer, hey, you should go to different publisher. Like I was doing networking, like I was just contacting him with different publisher and saying, hey, I played it, I think it's promising, I think the game needs some development, but you can try it. And yes, I was helping because there's always place for the good games, and we as a Portal Games, we publish games that are sci-fi, fantasy, heavy, meaty gamers games, and sometimes we have a brilliant prototype that just doesn't match our line, but we are helping to find it to someone else.
Yep. J.R. Schoenberger, who is Squared 82 on BGG, asked about the timing of games, and when things come out, there often seems to be a lot of lag between the time when a game is first presented to the public with demos and video reviews, etc., to when the game actually hits the store shelves. You're certainly right, JR. A game like Reef was first covered back in January of 2018, and the first video impressions were uploaded in February of 2018. Now, in September of 2018, which is when he posted the question, the game is just reaching stores. But by now, it feels like it's old news, even though I've never played it. As a publisher, what is the strategy process to keep the game release exciting and fresh? And JR, this is like, as we call it, the $64,000 question or the $1 million question, depending on how much money you make on the game. It's really hard to time things so that the reviews hit, the game can hit, the videos come out, the buzz is there. It is the hardest thing of all. Putting a game out on store shelves, that's child's play to maintaining the correct balance of when buzz comes out. Right, Ignacy, I know you have a cycle that you always go through and you try to time things well. It's not rocket science, but it is hard to get it correct, wouldn't you say?
This is a great question, and you're absolutely right. So on one hand, I have some road, I have some schedule, I have some experience, and I design and publish games that have an insane hype, like First Martians a couple of years ago, Detective last year. So on one hand, somebody could say, Ignacy has this secret formula, Ignacy knows how to create the worldwide buzz. But I don't have a worldwide buzz for every game I release. So on one hand, I have this formula, in air quotes. Like in one hand, I managed to do it a couple of times in my life. And I was able to build great narration and excitement and finally release the game. But it is impossible to do it for every game because sometimes it catches and players are really excited and they cannot wait to game to be released. And sometimes they say meh, and the whole secret formula will not work. So of course, as Steven said, if we have it like certain, it is $1 million worth of formula. But I believe, and our strategy for our games is to talk longer about the games, to let the word spread, to show it on conventions, to show prototype. Like I think the good release takes some time, but there is no secret formula that works always.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I think we've done enough questioning. Let's go to the final scoring.
Final scoring. Let's find out what's happening at Portal Games and Stronghold Games.
Hey, thank you everybody for listening. Really appreciate it. Help us spread the word by telling your friends about Board Games Insider. Have them downloaded wherever they get their podcasts. To ask us questions, of course, for our strategy and tactics segment, please post them in the correct guild on Board Game Geek. It's our guild up there. We have a special forum for that. We have a Board Games Insider Facebook page. Check that out. Of course, the company's got Facebook pages. It's /Stronghold Games and /Portal Publishing. Our company websites, strongholdgames.com, portalgames.pl, and portalgamesus.com. You can go over there and sign up for the newsletters. They're always informative. If you want to reach out and talk to Steven and Ignacy, Twitter is awesome. @Stronghold Games is the Stronghold Games Twitter account. @ChevyCheck, which, of course, as we now know, means little booty, is on Twitter. Our Instagram accounts are exactly the same. And, of course, we have YouTube channels as well. Upcoming conventions. Essen. That's huge. I'll be at BGG-Con as well after that. And then PAX Unplugged. That rounds out the rest of the year. And if you have a podcast that you would like edited by our editor, Matthew Jude, he's from This Game is Broken podcast. You can email him and he'll edit your podcast. thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Matthew's a great guy. Ignacy, this is where we get to the end of the podcast, and I always try to say something secret, and I wrote something in here. You know about it already. I'm coming to Poland.
Ta-dam!
So right before the Essen trip, I'm going to be Zev Schlesinger from WizKids and he's such a great friend. We're going to make a trip over to Poland. We're going to go to Krakow. We'll see Ignacy have dinner. We'll go see some of the sites there. I figured, since we're going to be in Europe, and I've never been to Poland, neither has Zev, we've make a little trip. So hopefully we'll take some nice pictures of all of us, in Krakow when we're there together. Can't wait.
Yes. Mary is helping with sightseeing and all this jazz. I will try help some Polish fans to meet you. So I will spoil where they can find you, in which restaurant or something like that. So we can make some meet up with you in Krakow or maybe in my city. But basically, here we are excited to welcome you to our country in a very poor weather. I want to warn you, and I want to warn your friend Zev, who has I don't know if we can say his nickname, but basically he doesn't like long pants. Like he always says that every weather is good for him, for his short pants. Poland at this point, yes, on Poland at this point of the year, you prepare for the bad weather, please.
Cold, right? Cold.
Yes.
All right. That's great. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in a week.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Board Games Insider with Ignacy Cevicek and Steven Bonacore. Board Games Insider has been made possible by you, our listeners and hobby board game enthusiasts. Ignacy and Steven thank you greatly for your support of their companies and the hobby board game industry. Follow both Portal Games and Stronghold Games on Twitter, like both companies on Facebook, and sign up for their newsletters on portalgames.pl and strongholdgames.com. Please join us next time on Board Games Insider.
You're listening to the Dice Tower Network, the home of smart people, insightful board gaming commentary, and Ignacy Cevicek. Find out more at dicetowernetwork.com.